Hey guys, welcome back to the Luci show. I'm dead. It's so funny. I was supposed to do like a chat with somebody from my OnlyFans, and after they paid, they didn't even show up, or like they weren't there at the time of our call. So they basically just wasted their money. So if you're watching this, you know who you are. Maybe show up to your appointment next time. But anyways, for those of you guys that have not checked out my OnlyFans page, it is Living with Luci, and I do chats over there, obviously for a paid price, so you can reach out to me over there. I am told that I can solve a lot of problems and hopefully make you happier after chatting with me, like a lot of my friends say that I could do for them. But yeah, so now we're going to talk about Beef because I finally finished watching it. Beef on Netflix was highly recommended by so many people. A lot of my friends watched it, but I love talking about it online afterwards. So again, spoiler alert. If you have not watched Beef and you want to check it out, I highly recommend you go and watch it before hearing my spoilers and my discussion. But I was so excited because every time I watch stuff, like I'll watch stuff with like my SO, I'll watch stuff with like my family and friends, and I just feel like nobody really like picks up all the little details that I like pick up whenever I'm watching something. So hopefully all the parts that I'm going to mention right now, one of you guys also felt it. But okay, all right, don't get out of here, David from California. So any of you guys, once again, if you did not watch Beef, as the title states, get out of the chat because I don't want to spoil it for you. It's so good. All right, so we're gonna get started. I loved it. So no surprise, obviously it's super popular. Everybody told me to watch Beef. I am glad that I went to watch Beef, okay? I'll probably rate it, although not like 10 out of 10 though. I probably give Beef like solid 9 out of 10 for me. Like, it was really, really good. But, oh, wait, what? Hold on. What? What do I have? I got, it said I broke. What? My TikTok stream stopped because it said I broke a community guideline. I'm gonna appeal it. Wow. I'm just breaking community guidelines apparently for left and right. I appealed for my Living with Luci channel, which I'm still waiting for. I hope that was a mistake. I didn't see anything except for talking about Beef. Are you not allowed to talk about TV shows on TikTok? Okay, whatever. I already appealed it, so we'll see what happens later. But anyways, so once again, spoiler alert, but I would give Beef a solid 9 out of 10. It was so good. But I felt, and I definitely predicted the ending, like the end part where the two main characters ended up together. I knew they were going to end up together. And I'm glad that they did in the end, but they made it in like an artsy way, I guess. It's up to you to decide, like, are they just really close friends that like really value each other, or are they like actually going to become a couple? But there's so many parts of it. Like, what I liked about the show a lot is that they're just telling you like everyone's going through something. Like every single one of those characters, no matter like how rich you are or how poor you are, you're most likely going through something. And then there are people who are just like happy all the time, when a lot of like the characters who feel depressed or they can't even explain what they're feeling, they start to think that the people who are just happy all the time are maybe like partly delusional. And I think that's for the viewer to decide like what you actually think, right? But there's some parts of it that I thought was so interesting, which is like the show didn't really give certain characters like that much attention. So for example, like the mom, I felt like they just gave her like a couple scenes showing that like, oh, she likes to go shopping a lot. The mom, the mother of George, like she likes to go shopping a lot. She used to, I mean, because her husband was an artist and they like had a good amount of money. And just showed like she likes to go shopping a lot. Obviously she has finance problems, but she's also like very lonely. So I like that even though they don't give the characters like that many scenes, you kind of get a sense of the character and you understand that they themselves are like going through something too, and then that may be the reason why they act a certain way. So I kind of really liked that part. It was kind of sad, but I liked the part where it showed George's mom was like calling all of these friends, which if you think about it, like a lot of rich people, this happens all the time. When they were wealthy and when they were doing well, everybody wants to be your friend. And then all of a sudden financially you're not doing as good anymore. You know, all of a sudden they don't want to talk to you. Or you could call them and they won't necessarily say like upfront, don't want to be friends with you anymore. But those are not real friends in the first place. So I feel like even if you lost a friend like that, that's actually doing you more good than bad. But I thought that part was like bittersweet, but very important to kind of, I guess, touch upon. And then the part that I think most people that I know that watch Beef just kind of like didn't really care about much, but I thought was a very interesting character was, I forgot her real name, but it's the girl from Emily in Paris, the Asian girl from Emily in Paris. She plays Emily's best friend. She is portrayed as like this woman who's just kind of like empty inside. She gets really pissed off and she gets really annoyed, like right from the beginning when we were introduced to her by like when she was talking to Amy, one of the main characters. And Amy was like, oh, you like must have so much time on your hands. And then she was just like all of a sudden like offended by that. And that's a lot of like housewives out there and women who end up marrying somebody with a lot of money and they get all this status, but they get really pissed. And this is such a reality that they get really mad when people like point things out like, hey, you have a lot of time on your hands, or, you know, or start to either make fun of their success because they didn't earn it. They just like married into it or whatever. But I think that's like more of a problem with like society and like people deciding to feel bad about themselves, because if you chose to like marry someone rich and you chose that life instead of you working hard towards it yourself, and you didn't actually, let's say, like create your own business or make your own money, you just like married rich. If that's what you want to do, then like own it. Don't feel bad if people tell you have a lot of time on your hands. If you have a lot of time on your hands, that's actually a beautiful thing. You could do a lot of good with it. And I feel like when people have money, whether you earned it yourself or not, I definitely feel like if you earned it yourself, you probably feel better about it. But even if you didn't, it doesn't mean like your life just ends there and you can't do more to feel good about yourself or whatever other endeavors that you're after. So I thought that lady, I forgot her name already. Naomi. I think Naomi is an interesting character because she clearly was just like very empty inside, gets pissed off when people tell her like, you have like a lot of time on your hands, which clearly she does. And then she just starts attacking people when really like she is her own problem. And then afterwards, I guess the shocking part was then she like ended up leaving her own husband. She ended up leaving her husband to be with Jordan, which is her husband's sister. And obviously like super wealthy, super powerful lady. So I just thought of her as like kind of this person. She was like an interesting character in terms of like, I think a lot of people are like this, where they just don't really like themselves and they don't know what they want out of life besides like having other people look up to them. So then instead of like becoming that themselves, they just try to latch on, like either grab a husband who has a lot of money or then go for like a woman with a lot of money and power. Just like, it's like social climbing, but then they don't realize like every time they social climb and don't do much for themselves and they're like their own soul or enrich themselves in like any way or maybe do any good to feel good about themselves, they're like actually harming themselves. And I was just like so mind blown, I guess, in the end that she ended up, well, this was an accident. Obviously, Jordan, I assume, died. They didn't really say, but I think that the scene was pretty clear. So that was a pretty big shocker. And I'm still trying to figure out with the whole losing names here. Danny. Okay. So with Danny, that was the biggest twist of all. I felt like when you're watching Beef, like you're following Amy, you're following Danny, and you're like, yeah, they're both like depressed and messed up and like you feel bad for them. But the whole time I kept feeling like Amy and Danny still didn't do anything like morally wrong. I was like, oh, they're not like bad people, you know, like they would never really like actually hurt anybody. So then near the end, when you find out like what Danny did in the past to like his own brother, that I think was like really hard for me to like watch and process, because in my head I'm like, oh my god, I like this character this whole time, but now you find out like this dirty secret. And I really like this about the show because it makes you it's pretty realistic, because if you could possibly know someone for like years and years or a decade, and then you find out like a nasty secret or something really bad about someone, it's like, what do you do, right? So I was trying to process in my head, because it's a sibling thing, right? I was like, if one of my siblings like tore up my college application papers, which is like life ruining, would I be able to forgive that? And I think it's because it never happened to me that I think I could forgive it. But I don't know if my siblings would be able to forgive me if I did something like that, because I would just automatically like wonder. I would be worried, obviously, for the mental health of my siblings if they ever did that. Like for someone to do that, that's pretty vicious and like dark. And also, yeah, I was just more worried for my siblings. But I think I would still try to help that person in my life who clearly wants me to be in their life so badly that they want to drag me down to their same level. Of course, like forever, I think you would have to put a guard up next to someone like that. But I don't think that's like, I'll never talk to you again type of thing. But let me know down in the comment section below if that's like a deal breaker for you. Like if a family member decided to rip up your college applications and then you end up not going to any good college, and then you just end up, I don't know, staying at home all the time and making no money. Is that something that's like, you know, you'll never talk to your siblings again for? And in Amy's character, I feel like was not nearly as bad. Like I know they made her childhood like seem kind of traumatic, which I personally didn't think it was that bad. Maybe I've been through more than her, so I feel like hers wasn't even that bad. But I felt like Amy's was just kind of one of those things where like she actually wasn't going through that much bad stuff at home, but it's all how people internalize it. It's like someone like me who feels like my life was more dramatic than Amy's, or like my childhood was. I look at her life or the story, the character's life, and I'm like, oh my god, why would you ever be traumatized by that? And she's so lucky. I feel like she's overly privileged with like the George guy in her life, and her lovely kid. It's like everything in her life is good, but she still finds ways to like still be very angry and unhappy. But the whole time I was thinking, like from the first few episodes, I'm like, Amy and Danny are like just perfect for each other. Like they're definitely perfect for each other because they're both so dark and they're both just hate the world, but they're like, they keep acting. It's like they kept acting like, and I think that's the best part about Beef, where I think more people need to understand like just how everyone is going through something. But hopefully more people watch the show and then realize a little bit about themselves within the show. That would be really lovely, I think. It would be like a huge plus for humanity if people can learn that like if you're not happy yourself, like for example Amy, you can't just find a George. Like a George is like happy, sunny, go lucky, like everything's fine, but like he didn't really try to understand her darkness and isn't that accepting. And anytime she would want to talk about something that was clearly like going on inside and it wasn't happy, it's like he either wanted to like deter it or like he didn't understand it. So it's just such a bad relationship from the start that I was like, oh my god, they should never be together. And then they go to like couples therapy. So like I feel like with couples therapists, I have never known a couple therapist. I've never gone to it, but like I've never known a single friend of mine or family member who's ever gone to a couple therapy session. And on the first session, any couple therapist, that's why I'm personally against it, but that's just me. I've never heard of a couple therapy session where the therapist would be like, you guys just need to break up. That's it. It's over. Stop trying. Because then they don't make money anymore. Like if they told you that on the first session, which would be full out honesty, they wouldn't make money anymore. So most of the time you'll hear them say, yes, you can work it out, even if somebody cheated on someone. Like it is just really mind-boggling. But that's kind of sad the way our world works, but there are people out there that just kind of capitalizes on your pain and your hurt, and they're not really there to like tell you all the greatest things that maybe someone who actually cares about your well-being will tell you for without a certain amount of dollar signs attached to it. But anyways, I overall just thought it was really, really good because I like that every character, like even though if it's a big character or a small character, they really, really were different, but then suffering through like something else. Besides the happiest characters, I feel like, oh, actually, you know what? George did kind of suffer through a little bit, not too much. It was more just like he felt useless, which is kind of sad because his mom even thinks he's useless. But his mom obviously didn't say that he was useless, like to his face. And again, it's more of just like how you feel like other people perceive you. More so like all of these characters in a sense, they were so worried about like how other people see them versus like how much they care about themselves. And I felt that that was the key. It's like we all need to just like work on, or what I took away from the movie was more, from the TV show was more like we all need to work more on ourselves and our own inner peace without caring so much about what other people think and what other people think about our life choices, what other people think about our past. It all just doesn't really matter, and it doesn't matter nearly as much as like what you actually want out of life. And never in a relationship try to attach yourself to somebody because of money or because the fact that they're just so much happier than you and you think that once you're with them like that happiness transfers, because it definitely doesn't. I'm with someone very, very happy. Like my SO is very, very happy. And I think a lot of people that know me and even see me like on a day-to-day basis are like, I'm super happy all the time, but I know deep down like I'm not nearly as happy as my SO, but that's fine. I don't expect to be with someone very happy and expect it to like transfer to myself. It's more of like my own process that I have to work on. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this chat. Hope you liked it. Let me know what you thought of Beef down in the comment section below, what you would rate it as, and what other shows you are currently watching. I am taking a break from very, very long TV shows. So I'm just going to be watching random like UFO documents here and there. Hi there, Ken. I'm working on like watching this UFO declassified documentary right now on Netflix. So I'm going to be watching that just kind of on and off. And yeah, taking a little break from watching all these very, very long TV shows. I mean, I kind of like the fact that Beef was only like, I guess, 30 minutes-ish each, and there was only like really about 10 minutes. So once again, if you didn't watch Beef and you're just coming in now, definitely don't rewind and get any spoilers for yourself. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.